know what's wild? The biggest story about Harry and Meghan wasn't a palace statement or a Netflix deal or even one of Meghan's carefully staged photo ops. It was a microphone. Yeah, a stupid little mic on a stage told us more about this couple's reality than years of polished interviews and glossy magazine spreads. Picture it. Harry standing there, spotlight on him, speech rolling, cameras snapping, audience watching, and then Meghan tried to do what she always does, slide in, take over, make it her moment. Only this time, he didn't play along. He kept the mic. He didn't turn. He didn't pass it. He didn't even give her the tiniest gesture. Silence. That was the moment. That was the shift. A royal no without saying a word. And Meghan? She looked like someone who showed up to a party uninvited. Wrinkled outfit, pasted on smile, that desperate move forward as if she could will the crowd to react. But they didn't. No applause, no laughter, not even a polite cheer. Just air so thick with awkwardness you could cut it. Harry carried on like she wasn't even there, and you could see it in his face. This wasn't new. This was routine. The sigh behind the eyes, the quiet, "Oh God, not again." That's when it hit me. You don't need palace insiders or royal experts to tell you what's going on. The truth played out right there in front of the cameras. One mic, one refusal, and the whole illusion cracked. And the strangest part? Nobody talked about it. Mainstream outlets didn't headline it. Reporters brushed it off. They kept selling the fairy tale, power couple, modern royals, global icons. Except the footage showed the exact opposite. Meghan shoving herself into a moment that didn't belong to her, and Harry shutting the door. Now, I know what you're thinking. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe Harry was distracted. But let's be real. These two built their entire brand on stage chemistry. Him stepping back so she could shine, her taking the mic like it was her crown. And suddenly, that dance was gone. Do you think that's a fluke? Come on. This wasn't just a missed cue. This was Harry drawing a line, not with words, with body language, with silence. And in the royal world, silence is louder than any speech. Now here's where it gets even more twisted. While Meghan was busy hijacking a spotlight that didn't want her, another headline slipped under the radar. Ukraine. Their government referred to Harry as His Royal Highness in official correspondence. Let that sink in. The very title the palace supposedly stripped away, still used, still honoured. And the palace? Dead quiet. No correction, no pushback. Nothing. Why? Because maybe Harry isn't as cut off as Meghan wants the world to believe. Maybe the palace is playing chess while Meghan's still playing checkers. Maybe they're keeping him half in, half out, just enough to use when it suits them. So, what does that tell us? Two things. First, Harry hasn't escaped the royal machine. Not even close. Second, Meghan's desperate act on that stage wasn't just about stealing a mic. It was about clinging to relevance. And she failed. Think about it. Meghan built her whole narrative on being the star, the one who could command any stage, any crowd, any camera. But lately, the magic's gone. She steps out and instead of admiration, people look confused. Instead of applause, there's silence. And that silence cuts deeper than any tabloid headline. And Harry? He's not saving her anymore. The same man who used to beam proudly while handing her the mic chose this time to hold on. That's not nothing. That's exhaustion. That's frustration. That's a husband who's done playing along with the show. But if you think that was just one awkward evening, you're missing the bigger picture. Because what happened at that Kevin Costner event sealed the deal. Meghan wasn't scheduled. She wasn't supposed to be on stage. Yet somehow she pushed her way in, Security didn't stop her. The organisers froze, cameras rolled, and the vibe? Off the charts, uncomfortable. Nobody clapped. Nobody smiled. It was like watching a glitch in the Matrix play out live. And when it didn't go her way, she stormed off. Not the glass-throwing, tantrum in public kind. Number. The subtle kind. The smile that's too wide. The body language screaming anger while pretending everything's fine. And once she got backstage, witnesses said the mask dropped. The frustration poured out. And you just know Harry caught the full storm once they got in the car. This isn't just a marriage under pressure. This is a brand collapsing in real time. Meghan used to dominate every headline, every frame. Now she's fighting just to stay in the picture. And Harry, he looks like a man trapped, half in California, half in the palace, and completely torn apart. But here's the part that kills me. While all of this awkward chaos is playing out in front of cameras, the palace doesn't even flinch. No statements, no clarifications, no spin, just silence. And that silence, it's not weakness, it's strategy. Because while Meghan scrambles for attention, the royal family is starving her of oxygen. They've realised the fastest way to burn out a fire is to stop feeding it. No comment, no reaction, just let her flame out on her own, and it's working. Audiences are starting to roll their eyes. Insiders are whispering instead of defending. The glossy brand Meghan fought to build is showing cracks so wide, even the tabloids can't cover them up. And Harry? He's not swooping in to save it anymore. He's fading with her. This is bigger than an awkward mic grab. This is the unravelling of the entire Sussex story. The fairy tale has slipped into farce, and the world is noticing. Now, if you're watching this, just sit back. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Harry keeping that mic was a small slip, or was it a deliberate move? I want to see where you stand, because this one moment might be the key to understanding the entire collapse. And hit subscribe, because part 2 digs into how the palace is pulling strings quietly behind the scenes, while Meghan's empire crumbles in real time. Let's get real. What we're seeing right now isn't just a couple hitting a rough patch. It's the collapse of a brand. A carefully curated narrative built on glitz, victimhood, and fairy tale spin, crumbling live in front of cameras that refuse to cut away. And the most brutal part? The palace didn't even have to lift a finger. They're not firing off press releases. They're not sending aides to brief reporters. They've chosen silence. And that silence is deafening. Because every time Meghan forces herself into a spotlight she wasn't invited to, every time Harry looks away instead of rescuing her, the silence from Buckingham Palace says more than words ever could. Now let's talk about Harry. Look at him. This isn't the charismatic, cheeky prince who once lit up a room with a joke and a grin. This is a man who looks tired. Not travel tired. Soul tired. The kind of tired that comes from years of biting your tongue while pretending the script still works. He went from being the royal rebel, the guy everyone rooted for, to someone who can barely get a sentence out without sounding like he rehearsed it a dozen times. And worse? He doesn't even seem to believe the words himself anymore. California was supposed to free him. That was the pitch. Sunshine, independence, new projects, no palace rules. But if you really look at him now, it hasn't freed him. It's boxed him in. He's not a prince, not a private citizen, not a Hollywood player. He's stuck between identities, caught in a no man's land where nothing feels authentic. And Meghan? She knows it. She sees the cameras aren't eating her up the way they used to. She feels the energy shifting every time she steps on stage, and the applause doesn't follow. And instead of pulling back, she pushes harder. Louder smiles, sharper entrances, more desperate bids for relevance. But the harder she pushes, the clearer the cracks become. You could feel it at that Kevin Costner event. She wasn't meant to be there, and everybody knew it. Yet there she was, muscling into the frame, trying to force the narrative. And the room froze. That's the thing. People don't have to boo anymore. They don't have to clap either. That silence, that's worse than criticism. That's indifference. And for someone like Meghan, indifference is poison. And then comes the storm behind closed doors. The smile drops, the tension rises, and Harry's left holding the bag. Imagine the car ride home. The conversations that never make it to the tabloids. That's where the real drama lives, and it's eating them alive. Meanwhile, the royal family carries on as if nothing happened. King Charles, William, the institution, they're unbothered. They don't even dignify Harry and Meghan's missteps with a response. Why would they? Every time the Sussexes stumble in public, the monarchy looks stronger by comparison. And the press? They're playing their own game. One week, it's reconciliation rumours. The next, it's divorce speculation. Not because they believe either, but because drama sells. And Harry and Meghan can't resist feeding into it. Every staged walk, every awkward interview, every forced smile becomes clickbait. But peel back the headlines, and here's the truth. Meghan's charm is gone. The sparkle, the mystique, the media spell she once cast, it's broken. She used to control the frame, twist the narrative, turn even the dullest moment into empowerment or victimhood. But that only works when people buy it. And lately, they're not. And Harry knows it. You can see it in his body language, in the way he avoids eye contact on stage, in the way he holds the mic tighter now. It's not just about control. It's about survival. He's clinging to whatever shred of authority he has left, while watching the empire they tried to build slip through their fingers. Because, make no mistake, this was supposed to be an empire. Deals with Netflix, Spotify, book tours, global influence. They thought they could walk away from the palace and still command the same level of power. But here's the reality. Without the crown, without the monarchy machine, their relevance shrinks by the day. That's why every trip back to Europe feels so loaded. Why every time Harry gets addressed as His Royal Highness, the media buzzes. Because deep down, Harry knows he needs that tether. He's not free of it. He's dependent on it. And the palace? They know it too. That's why they don't bother correcting Ukraine's wording. It keeps him hooked, half in, half out, still useful when needed. And that's the irony. Meghan and Harry thought they could break away and build something better. Instead, they ended up more entangled than ever, just without the security, the stability, or the respect. So what are we left with? A couple that went from commanding the world's attention to fumbling for scraps of relevance. A marriage strained not just by love or loyalty, but by business, branding, and the crushing reality that the fairy tale they sold is falling apart. And the saddest part? Nobody's even shocked anymore. The audience sees through the act. The insiders are whispering louder. The palace is unshaken, and Harry and Meghan are left standing under the lights, awkward, exposed, and ignored. All of it. The wrinkled dress, the awkward stage crash, the mic that never changed hands. It's more than just tabloid fodder. It's the story of two people who thought they could outplay the monarchy and ended up outplaying themselves. This isn't a pause. This isn't a rough patch. This is the slow-motion collapse of the Sussex brand, and the world is watching. Now, here's where you come in. Do you think Harry's refusal to hand over the mic was just frustration in the moment, or was it a bigger signal that he's done playing Meghan's game? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this one moment might tell us everything we need to know. And if you want the unfiltered truth the press won't print, the kind of expose they'd rather sweep under the rug, make sure you're subscribed. Because what's coming next? It's going to make the Mike incident look tame.